What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you so much for watching Moreno TV. So tonight I'm going to be going to Council Bluffs, Iowa. I finally get to go out and explore an actual building. This building is called Squirrel Cage Jail, and they say this place is pretty haunted, so we're going to go check it out. So I found these people online. I ended up booking like 4 locations with them, and the first place I'm going to is, Squirrel Cage Jail. And then I got 3 other ones after this, which, you guys will know once I do a video there. So what I'm gonna end up doing is probably making like a 2-part video here. And the first part's gonna be taking like the history tour so we can learn about the place and learn a little bit about the history and what's happened there in the past. And then of course part 2 will be exploring with this group. So I'm going with the group, so I'm gonna be exploring with this group, and they're gonna be doing like paranormal investigating, like actual stuff, and I'm gonna record as much as I can. So throughout these videos you may not hear me talk that much like I normally do when I'm doing my cemetery videos and stuff. So but after we do the paranormal investigation, I think we have free time, which is like gives us a couple of hours to go and explore alone. And so that's what I'll be doing too. And I think when we do that, the ghost hunt and stuff, everything's gonna be lights out, so it's gonna be pitch dark. So I do have a night vision camera, so that way we can still see and explore that way. Whenever I go do my own exploration, I'll use this camera here, and then of course I'll have my night vision camera so we can also see while it's pitch dark. I won't be able to see that well because it'll be dark, but you guys will be able to see everything because of course it's night vision. And then when I use this camera, I'll use my light up there on the top, so that way you guys can get clear images with this camera here. So but yeah, I'm excited. I've been wanting to do something like this for a while, and I haven't made a video in at least almost 2 months now because of the winter. Of course, winter's been bad everywhere. We've gotten quite a bit of snow, and then I think the temperatures have been negatives here for a little while, so finally started to warm up, which is good for me because tonight I get to go out and do my ghost hunt. So I'm actually pretty excited. So I hope you guys like. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, smash that like button, share my videos, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you guys when we get there. Peace.
We have a large book. It's booking office. We're gonna put your name, what you did, when you were arrested, time of arrest, time of your court date, all that fun stuff depending on the year. Earlier on, it's a name and a number. By the time we hit the 30s, we finally get some of that information, and then we get the 40s, and we get to know really what they did, if it's their first or second offense and where they're going. So it gets far more interesting for historians by the time we get that. In this case, though, we do have some mug shots. We don't know if they were taken in this room or at the courthouse, but they are of inmates that were here with us. So these are from 1939, and these are from 1940. You will see a female on this page. So we did have men, women, as well as a juvenile section here. So we were very busy. We opened in 1885 and served the county up until 1969, so a total of 84 years, which means things were a little different here. We would take away your jewelry, shoelaces, belt buckle, anything like that we thought was dangerous, but you may keep your matches and cigarettes. That's fine, right? Yeah, fire, whatever. No shoelaces. So one of the other big differences is our light fixture. The 2 that are out is actually for gas. That's what the knobs are for. And that's what we have for the first 60 years. It's the same light fixture in the kitchen. It would just be the main areas. After that, we do finally get electricity, but again, only in the main areas. Each cell in the rotary system will not receive a light bulb until 1960, and we'll see why. But even today, our giant windows bring in the majority of the light here. So overcast days are a little gloomy in here, you might say. Any questions so far?
Did the jailer's wife tend to the 30-year-old that was here?
We assume so.
Yeah, that's what she needed, was more work.
Right. We would assume she would do that. So we did have an area that's for 3 to 13-year-olds originally as pre-child services. So mom, dad, or guardian arrested, a child could be housed here. But I also just found an arrest record fingerprint card of a 12-year-old who was here and arrested for shooting chickens.
So doing what, I'm sorry?
He was shooting chickens.
Oh.
Yeah. So he was at least here with us shortly, and the more that I've gone through the fingerprint cards, which is literally last week, so you're hearing some fresh information here. We have more juveniles in here than I realized, but that's because those cards have more information, like they're about this big versus the one line that I have in the booking information. So We are continuously learning. We just got those fingerprint cards in the last year or so from the Sheriff's Department because the Vice President of the Historical Society works there. So he can say, you don't need that anymore, give me the giant filing cabinet. And we have a giant filing cabinet of cards bigger than me. So in like 6 years, I'll have them all scanned in.
Oh my goodness.
It's wonderful, but it's gonna take a day or two to get through them. Because the new ones have front and backs, which means extra scans. But in here, like I said, we would bring everyone through here. That means you could be drunk, maybe a little unruly, you're trying to start a fight with the jailer, which means solitary confinement. So I'm gonna open up that door. I kind of want to get to where you can see it.
Yeah, if you guys want to come.
Because it's little. It's just right here. This is your solitary confinement. You could be in here from 30 minutes to a couple of hours.
Right there?
Right here. It's about 2
Jesus.
feet deep, maybe, a couple across, 6 feet tall. Like, I'm 5'3", if that tells you anything. Like, there's not a lot of space in here.
No.
The longest that we're aware of right here, 10 days. Gonna get bread and water, twice a day coffee can or bucket in here at your feet to take up some of your space. This door would be closed, so it makes for a very small spot. People with shoulders can't turn around.
Yeah.
And in the nice winters, you get a draft coming from the bars. Feel free to jump in.
Dan, we'll be back to pick you up at 2 a.m.
At 2?
You got the lock. We're gonna bring you bread and water.
I can't even squeeze in here.
There's a bucket right there. It's fine.
My shoulders are too big.
Yeah. Girls, yeah.
That's crazy though.
Happened to my aunt, my Uncle Mike that was in here.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
in here twice. He was a juvenile and then later on for check fraud.
That was a popular charge.
When he was a kid, he got caught stealing his school supplies, his pencils, because his parents wouldn't buy them for him.
Oh no. Yeah, you'd be surprised what people are in here for, not what we think of today. And that is the stove she would be cooking on. It's also the only source of heat for the first 20 years. Coals would be heated up and distributed throughout the building. After that steam heat, radiators came in. We'll see evidence of that as we go through. And today, it's hot when it's hot outside, and it's cold when it's cold outside. So pretty similar to what the inmates had. It's 3 layers of brick on our exterior walls, and then in the cell blocks, we have the brick plus the metal. So it picks up temperatures, just not the one you want.
Yeah. It's the wrong temperature.
Yeah, so it can get uncomfortable in here, and I get to pick how layered my clothes are, which makes a big difference between myself and our inmates here.
Yeah.
By 1920, we do get a sink as well as a summer kitchen outside that far door, so there's pictures of it to the left. Made it easier to prepare the massive quantities of food going through this room, as well as keeping some of that heat outside during the summers. A lot of easy to make foods in here, you know, spaghetti, bread, beans, kind of what we think was hamburger helper sometimes. Hot sandwiches in the 60s. I don't know what's going to be on that, but you get hot sandwiches. But not on Sundays. The
Should be fun time for helper type stuff.
yeah. The oatmeal and lots of coffee, so I would survive here. At holidays, they would try and do special things. We had better food than the city. You wanted to be here, especially during those times. So they would try and make nicer things, because you could be in here for stealing coal during this time of year, or things like that.
Yeah.
If you guys want to look around here, then we can look at the model.
Did anybody ever get scared from that thing in the corner over there? Like if it was dark, somebody walked by.
Oh, my boss gets scared during the day. She hates her half head.
That is pretty creepy. I hadn't even noticed that until you mentioned it.
Oh, she came from Express. She's a fancy looking gal.
Oh,
Is that the one you
sold?
sold? And her stand is
Steal it, I'm
really
sorry.
heavy. Yes. I live in a jail. It's fine. I think her arms broke off, so they were going to throw her away.
Oh, no, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Which means we just go and ask for broken mannequins on patients.
Yeah.
Because they just look creepy here anyway.
Yeah. Fair.
Wait till you meet Manny.
It's a pretty old sink for sure.
Yeah, it still works happily.
It still works.
Thank
Yep.
goodness.
Oh wow.
Alright, we'll come this way.
Was that a model?
Yes. I think it makes more sense to look at this guy first, because it's a different kind of structure. So we're standing just about here. All 3 levels would have rotated as one piece. At the beginning, it rotated continuously. There was a water motor in the basement that assisted with that rotation. which burned out within the first 5 to 20 years, which means we go to hand crank only. There's a hand crank at the front of each level. If the jailer wants somebody on the 3rd floor, she'll crank it around, line up the entry to the little door. Only way in or out is that swinging door.
Just that one door right there.
Yes, so on the front of each level, it's going to be exactly the same. Then there's bars all the way around the rest of the structure. So you are definitely at the mercy of the jailer when he wants you in or out. That's how it works up until 1960, when it was found to be kind of dangerous. The fire marshal was not a fan of us, so he ordered us to stop rotation. It was getting stuck, arms and legs were getting broken on purpose and on accident, as well as any emergencies. It would take too long to clear out the structure. So where it sits today is where it stopped in 1960. Swinging doors are removed, as well as the hand cranks, any mechanisms in the column here. And openings are cut in all the way around the 1st floor into the cells. On the 2nd and 3rd, where we have the platforms, we go from having 10 cells accessible per floor, 2 inmates per cell for a capacity of 60, to a little less than half of that. And we also have different dangers for the last 9 years. The inmates basically run the floor. You have this big door and the side doors on each level, and that's it. So the inmates can run around. They're not in their cells unless they want to be, which means the jailer refuses to go back without an armed guard during that time. It also means different dangers for the inmates. If I'm in here in assault and battery, you didn't have a fishing license, which another legit charge, you're gonna hang out here and you might not be safe around me. And that's how it works until December of 1969, when we finally close. Any questions on the structure, the design?
This is crazy.
Yeah. Somebody called it a sadistic carousel last summer. Maybe my new favorite description.
Yeah.
All right, and on either side here we have food pass-throughs or grub holes, and that's how all the food would be served. There'd be trays, 2 cups, 2 plates, 2 spoons. The jailer's wife or kids could assist with the serving of the food, as well as trustees. Those are inmates here at least a month who did something financially related most of the time, or non-violent at any rate. They assist with different chores throughout the building, so serving food, cleaning, tending the petunia patch, things like that. You guys ready to go to jail? Mm-hmm. All right. As we go through here, on my left is where the hand crank would have been. Directly above me is where that swinging door could latch into the 3 places, and this is the one entrance. So come on. Olivia, step down when you come towards me.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So that would be the entrance to this floor. You would have to be cranked around to that very front section in order to be released or placed into the cells. If you're going to release anybody, everybody gets to go for a ride in the structure. This very first one, we have fake bars across to give you an idea of what it looked like before they were cut open. And every other cell will be dark to give you an idea of what it looked like before 1960, because light bulbs cannot be put in the cells until it stopped rotation. So we would have light bulbs out here, and the windows back there bring in more light than the light bulbs. So it helps there. Yeah, it sounds so cruel when we're like, no lights for the inmates, and then it's, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Why would you need all kinds of lights?
Yeah, it'd be kind of difficult and dangerous and fun. The very back of the cell, you'll notice what looks like a shelf.
Yeah.
That is your toilet. There would be a hole in it. It's filled with water, kind of a gravity system, so it would remove waste as the gravity flows through. And there's one central pipe in the base, about 15 feet of sewage line. And then there's little holes on the curved portion above the shelf. That's your ventilation, and there are 30 of those. You also get a smoke back here, which means you're gonna have that smell too. We had Harry Cohen smoking 150 to 200 hand-rolled cigarettes a day, and he passed away of a heart attack on this first level. But you'll also see writing on the ceiling, kind of near where we came in, and on the ceilings of the cells. When we get into the cells later, you'll see it on the undersides of the bunks. They would roll up a piece of paper, light it on fire, and write with the soot and the smoke. So that is from our inmates.
Oh, really?
Yes, we're very lucky. We still have that. The only spot where writing won't be original are the wooden benches. Those are reproductions. Only the first cell has the original one. You can see it's about to fall over like a strong breeze. Not a strong breeze. So the rest have been put in to make it look a little bit more authentic. And these were too shiny, so we had to carve into them. On these 2 walls here are some escapes and attempted escapes. They're not all of them, but ones that we found kind of fun. First one is over here, not necessarily the first attempt, but what we have on the wall in 1915, over to about 1968 over there. And you'll see some faces popping up multiple times. No, I didn't misprint. He just came in and decided he wanted to leave more than once. So it could happen. In this case, there are locks and restraints that were used within the facility. So if you guys want to take a look at this area, I will meet you just in the bullpen.
Some old locks for sure.
I'm just trying to picture that guy picking one of those, trying to get out.
Like, I wonder if, I don't know if locks were as good as, they are now back then.
I
They're
mean-
probably a lot easier to pick, you would think.
Yeah. But then to have to, because the only way really out is over there.
Still ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So, where would that?
Oh, they cut through the walls. They went out through the toilets. The
They went out through the toilet? Is that how they got in the tunnel?
Yeah. Well, that was a different tunnel.
Okay.
So there's the two that went out through the sewage system, and then another that went out.
Oh, that scared me. I saw it.
Yeah.
I guess you saw him in there.
There's a cutout on the second one, and it scared me the first time I saw it.
So you said this is original writing in the cell up here?
Yes, it is.
They wrote that in smoke? Yes. You can see how the smoke was doing that for
Then we
sure.
have some examples of the smokers in there too for you. Makes a little more sense. It's in this case to your right, the one I'm using it for your mom. So it's on the top shelf thing. So you might blunt it out, and then you could write it like you would.
Oh, yeah. That's actually pretty cool.
They're creative.
Very.
I wouldn't think to do that.
Yeah.
Is this all original too?
It is. We're very lucky.
Yeah. Wow. He was in here for Republican Health and.
So when you guys look up, that's what it would have looked like all the way down, is those bars completely across. It's the inside that would have rotated. If you look at the base, you can see it's a giant gear. Inmates would also climb up the outside bars in order to write their name on the ceiling. Could be kind of dangerous because my foot barely fits in between the bars, let alone like a grown man's foot.
Yeah.
We also had catwalks that went around the cage. They would have gone around the second and third floor. You can see where it's kind of roughly cut, especially to the right of the hand sticking out up there. They went out about a foot with a small inch or so lip. They were meant just for the jailer's use. Inmates were not to be up there. So of course, in 1942, a Mr. Joseph Latac went up to the third floor catwalk. When he stood up, he fell into that area, breaking his neck on impact. Catwalks came down sometime after that. Yeah. This table is original, likely built back here just because of that small entryway to this level. All the carvings in it were done by inmates, and that would have been done by the use of a spoon. We've also got quite a few carvings on the walls. One of my favorites here, Donald Duck. And actually, to your feet, there's some carving on the floor. So they had patience.
They had time.
Yeah. Even with that much time, I don't think I have that much patience. You guys can feel free to step in this cell now if you would like, but we can also go into the cells tonight, so that's just kind of an option for you there.
That's actually pretty good. That carving of Donald Duck.
That's impressive. I couldn't have so convenient.
You said we could step in the cell?
Yes, please feel free.
Yeah, I don't know. This is way too small in there. I look little. I look big in here.
I know, I've been a florist for a long time.
Oh, there's more up there. So did all the prisoners actually write on the ceilings?
I'm sorry.
He asked if all the prisoners actually wrote on the ceilings.
Yes.
So every cell has writing?
So I think most of them do. Now the ones that we haven't accessed, they may have been painted over at some point, so we don't see up there. But almost all the cells have writing or carvings in them.
That's
But there's
awesome.
a different level of degradation in these ones versus the ones we can't access as well.
If you want the ones all the way up on the ceiling over here, there's a whole bunch on this side.
Some fun ones.
Oh, how did they do that one up there?
Gross stupidity, like climbing up the outside.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they would climb all the way up.
The map to my right, this is the map of where there's 17 and in total 18. Lazy Susan, Rotary, or squirrel cage jails were built across the country. There's only 3 remaining today. The first one was built in 1881 and the last one in 1888. Yes. So they were built pretty quickly over that 7-year period. Like I said, only 3 left today. Ours is the largest one ever built at the 3 layers of Rotary. There's a 1-story in Gallatin, Missouri, and a 2-story in Crawfordsville, Indiana. All 3 of us are museums. Where it says still operational for Crawfordsville, they still have the ability to rotate. So if you're in that area, I would go see it. Or YouTube is what I did personally. They're all very similar in their structures. They changed a little bit for the first 4, I would say, because it hadn't been patented yet. It was Brown and Haw are the 2 that came up with it, and they were from the Indianapolis area. And I read, I think it's on your website, that Brown actually stayed on the 4th floor for a while. He may have.
Okay.
Not certain. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I was.
I don't see how they climbed up there.
I'm tired. Dentist.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I turn around, he's added stuff, and then I'm like really dumb that I don't know what's on the website. Stand the right spot, like the wrong stuff.
And these are actual pictures that people have taken here?
Yeah. Too much information.
Did you see the outline of the?
Oh, yeah, you can see that.
And I'll find out what those photos were taken as well. We'll hear that a few times tonight.
That's actually really good evidence right there.
Yeah.
Have an image like that.
That's creepy.
Weirdest topic.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Speaking of plumbing, I'm standing in the shower.
That's the shower.
About the 1930s, because other than the toilet system, there was no plumbing in this building originally. But this is the first instance of indoor plumbing in council laws with that toilet system.
I didn't get scared.
So you're going to shower once a week while wearing your clothes because there's no other form of laundry available to the inmates. We also don't hand out uniforms, so whatever you're wearing at the time of arrest is what you're going to wear during your entire stay. Now most of the time it's going to be a couple of nights. You're probably drying out in here. Maybe it's something small, but you could be in here up to a year. Wearing the same thing, washing it once a week, in cold water every week I might add as well. Now there is a washer in here. This would have been outside the wall just for the jailer's use to do linens and things like that in the jail. There's a step up. It's going to curve down to the shower. The shower drain is loose, so just FYI. The shower head is where the picture hangs today. There'll be a step down on the far side. You guys can look around in here and meet on this side.
Hey.
No light bulb in it like during college.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was kind of like the one I thought was
That's a pretty old washer.
in our dorm room.
Nice. Specifically in this area, we've been hearing it. Unfortunately, we don't know if it's coming from this level or echoing from the top, which makes it nice and easy when you're trying to investigate in here. Because if anybody was on like the 2nd and 3rd cell level, and you're talking about like this, we can still hear you. So you really have to debunk things in this building, or if you stay together, it can be useful as well. Before we go upstairs, this angle right here, this welding mark, is the angle of the original staircase. It went to all 3 levels and was very steep. Now the other changes are made in 1960. This is put in, and we're told we need a fire escape. So outside this wall is a portion of the original staircase for our fire escape. So as we go up, you look out the window to the right, you'll be able to see the world's steepest staircase. I'm sure it's the world's steepest, too. Like, that's official right there. So just right here.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I could be wrong, but I'm feeling pretty confident.
It's pretty steep.
And as you come up to this level, on your right, there's a flip book. And those are jailer's records from 1933, so please feel free to flip through them. Did you get out another thing?
Yeah.
So we've had people in here for speeding, the wrong side of the road. False checks was very popular in the 30s, even later on, but very popular at that time. Stealing a chicken, you could be in here. Fishing without a license, you could hang out with us if you can't pay the fine. A lot of times if you can't pay the fine, you're gonna hang out with us. A lot of drunk, a lot of intox. You're gonna dry out in a nice rotary cage, it's gonna be great. Everyone involved.
Oh, have fun.
Yeah, and that can go from like a night, 5 nights, depending on if that's your first or second time. With that, a lot of disturbing the peace, and I had one, mayhem, was in there in like 1945 the other day. I am going to be looking that up.
Just generally causing a ruckus?
Yeah, it's the only time I've
Describe the
seen it.
ruckus.
I've typed in from 1932 to 1946, so I've seen a few of the records. We've had people in here for seduction, adultery, contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Very popular, not great. Desertion of your wife and family as well.
Oh, that should still be on the books.
Yeah.
So if you're not paying your child support or the like, they would track you down and put you in here and make you go into court and figure out how you're going to be paying that. You could also be in here for assault, breaking and entering, rape, and murder. Now, we're a county jail, which means most of the time it's going to be those smaller ones. You're here for a few nights drying out. You probably did something dumb. You're chilling at the county. If you're in here for anything above a misdemeanor, you're going to be going to court next door. And then you're going to be taken to another location because we are just a county, which means the max is a year. Felonies, you're not going to hang out with us any longer than your trial time. Any questions about all that?
So is this floor, this was the juvenile floor, right?
So this is the second floor of the Rotary, which means we're still
okay.
housing men 14
okay.
and up. Because, 14-year-old boys are totally men, right? Yeah, things have changed for the better in that one, I think. We'll go talk about some of those creepier dudes that were in here for the trials. I like to call this the creepy corner.
Hobo days.
Oh.
Same.
I've had a lot of time on my hands this year. Yeah. Oh, it's good. I've been typing up records. Which is
I know, it's like one
I was
fast.
just thinking about the time you were talking about 33 deaths.
Oh, yeah.
That would be around the time my uncle and my great grandfather would be here. Because my grandma was born in 28. And these are her
Oh, sure.
dad and her brothers.
So send me their names on Facebook to the jail page.
Okay.
And I'll see what I can find.
Okay.
It might be a couple of days.
That's okay.
I'll this again tomorrow. So.
That's okay. I don't know.
That's
okay. Yeah, because I just, yeah, she was born in 28 and these were her older brothers, so that
Should
would
be
be the
within that
time.
period.
Yeah.
All right, so I've talked about 3 deaths. The 4th death that we're aware of in the building is going to be Thomas Reifel. That last name is spelled the German way. He was here after continued harassment of a young woman in town, as well as bootlegging charges. He didn't act quite right in here. Other inmates say he was acting kind of morose. And he ends up taking a laundry line or sheets around his neck and around the outside bars and are slowly suffocated throughout the night. So probably the most brutal one that we know of in my opinion. Now over here, we have some spree killers. This is Charles Brown and Charles Kelly. They were in here after a 3-day, 3-state shooting spree. They decided basically, let's get some guns and do some robberies, is how it reads. They start in Minneapolis, worked their way into Omaha, ended up here in the Council Bluffs area. During this time, they attacked at least 7 people. About 3 to 4 did die due to their injuries. One bartender in Minneapolis was attacked. He was shot 6 times before he was able to get to a hospital where he was in critical condition. Unfortunately, we don't know where his story goes after that. They also carjacked 2 separate men here in the Council Bluffs area. One survived, unfortunately, the other did not. It was fairly obvious they were in the area, so officers set up roadblocks around the town in order to try and capture them. Brown and Kelly, as well as a young woman, boarded a bus to try and get out of the area and were stopped at one of those roadblocks. These 2 men say it would have been a very different arrest story had the young woman not been with them. As it was, officers were able to board the bus, remove them, and bring all 3 here. The female was housed here as a witness and an investigation as well. Now, Brown was housed here for parts of his trial, which would have been next door in the parking lot, is where the courthouse was at that time. He was found guilty, sentenced to execution to be carried out at Fort Madison, which is about 5 hours east of us. And then, that was in 1962. Then Charles Kelly was concerned that there might be some bias, so he petitioned the county to be tried in Mills County. and that was allowed, but he too was found guilty, sentenced to execution in 62, again carried out at Fort Madison. This is the noose and portion of a noose that were used in those executions. Kelly was about 19, 20 years old, and Brown was about 29, 30 years old at that time. Any questions on these guys?
Any idea how they like got together with such
I
age
believe they
differences?
worked together.
Okay. Okay.
No.
And both their first names were John?
Both of them are Charles.
Charles,
Weirdly
okay.
enough. Yeah. No
Yeah.
worries.
Okay. Yeah, I just
And they
wanted to
look
get that
weirdly
right.
similar too. Like they're
Yeah.
not related either.
Okay.
But here we are. Real quick, right here, this is an old trap door that was put in at the request of a jailer. If he's working on an upper level, if something starts happening on that first level, it's going to take a while to get down there because you have 3 doors to unlock and lock. Go down the stairs, same amount of doors. Instead, you can unlock this, drop a rope ladder, deal with the situation in a timely manner. Now, on these 2 walls, these are a serial killer. This is Jake Bird. He was here in 1928 after the attempted murder of a husband and wife in the Carter Lake area, kind of that general direction. He would have been housed here, possibly a couple other jails, just to have a live man to go to trial. He was found guilty and sentenced to 30 years at Fort Madison. He was able to get out early due to good behavior. And then he worked for the railroads as a bandy dancer and was able to move across the country very easily until he's picked up in 1947 in Washington State for the murder of a mother and daughter. Easily connected to the crime because brain matter was still on his person at the time of arrest. So he's found guilty and sentenced to execution, at which point he admits to 44 additional axe murders. So he connects himself to 46. The courts can connect to about 10 or so. This time period it's hard to connect across county, let alone state lines. So he's the prime suspect in numerous others. There's also the Jake Bird hex. He told anyone ever involved in his punishment that they would die before his execution. Weirdly enough, 6 died in that coming time. 5 heart attacks and 1 case of bronchitis. He's finally hung in Walla Walla, Washington in 1949. Yes. This is a copy of the death certificate, some various articles of the time, the wording of the hex is over there, as well as the 6 individuals who passed away. Before I let you guys look at those, this level we've had some size, some lights have been seen kind of in the middle little cube area. I'll point out again. Female voices. Some people have said it sounds like coins being rolled across the floor kind of later at night. And a lot of people have had various things throughout the building, a lot of cat and mouse, so it's kind of hard to pin down sometimes. And I did forget on the other side that flip book. It makes a nice squeak when you move it, and we've heard that actually the last event. We heard that moving. We thought it was a door, but we were able to pin down that it was actually that sound. We heard a female say hello right before we heard that so well that we thought somebody was in the building actually. So, yeah.
I'm excited.
That was a fun night. So I'll let you guys look around. If you have questions, please let me know.
I'm assuming that's Jake.
Yes.
He was supposed to be
He was in one of the cells that's on the other side that we can't get to.
Oh, okay. So
So
they
I
just
mean, I think he's got his axe like supposed to be in, but well, we can't go to his cell, darn it.
just rotate it.
You push, okay?
Can you imagine turning that crank? 90,000 pounds.
That's a
It's
lot.
supposed to be easy in the beginning, but as time goes on and it's more out of balance, the harder it was to rotate.
Oh,
If you guys will head into here, you can pick a cell. There's plenty of space to go into.
I'll let you go.
I've put 30 people in there before, so I feel
Oh, my.
confident.
You want to come to the back one?
Sure.
You can see the shower.
So where you guys are, that's juvenile detention.
This where the shadow was?
So originally you're
The shower.
Oh, the shower.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
you're in here if your parents are guardians.
No, but that one's
and
upsetting.
You can be in here if you're a runaway until your parents can come and collect you.
They've got
Fighting,
marbles.
things
Wanna
like that.
play?
That's shooting drinking. We'll get you in here, which makes sense.
Super cold in there.
Fighting,
It feels
things
good.
like that. Underage beer is a specific charge on ours, not just underage drinking, but underage beer.
Here.
I don't know. But the back left-hand corner does have a shower, far more private than what we saw earlier. Likely hot and cold water the way the pipes are set up. And then in each cell there's little doors in the wall. It's towards the middle, bottom of the wall on the left, and then to the right of the wooden bench in the right one. Originally those would open. You'd place poles inside, and that would help keep this area
And it looks like they do the same thing.
Yes, you can write in here too.
Okay.
We've had quite a few reports from this era. People's hair's been played
Oh, yeah?
coats, fries, hats pulled off.
Nightlight.
During storm times, we'll hear a little
I don't know
girl
where
in this
you
area
put it.
specifically. She's been heard and seen in other areas too.
Probably, yeah, use your eyes.
Storms it's really here. We've had good luck with the flashlight questions. We had somebody sitting in the shower with the flashlight that was turning on and off when we were asking questions, and the person in the shower had what felt like a pebble get thrown at her. I think that maybe
Yeah, same thing. I'm like, wait. It's my door.
Thanks for my sounds. We've heard that before though. We've also had footsteps from this area. So one of my tour guides was in the office, was just directly below, was waiting for a tour group to come in, so she was alone, and heard what she said, heavy booted footsteps is what she could describe happening from there. And I've heard footsteps coming up the front stairs before. We've also heard shuffling coming from the kitchen. But that partial body apparition photo was taken from about where you guys are. Looking across, you can see that the sink from the photo, which is where we'll go now.
Yeah.
All right, so this room has had a few different uses over the years. Originally, it would have looked very similar to juvenile detention, and women would have been housed in here at that time. You can see on both walls there's some remaining bolt marks, so probably 2 bunks per wall. That was likely a half wall. And then on the ceiling above the cabinet, you can see a change has been made there. Since it was women in the time period were built is why it would likely be a half wall because of the toilets. Now, towards the end of our life here, one of our jailers, Bill Foster, his wife passed. He was no longer wanting to take care of the entire facility, and they allowed him to become a relief jailer. Mr. and Mrs. Poor were brought in as the main jailer and matron. They redid this room so he could assist throughout the building. So it's a nicer bathroom than what had been here. Phone line's been brought up. No longer bars on that window, and you can lock people out instead of in this room, if the bar was still there. You know. Not too much has been reported in this room. I think it's because the bathroom with the thinnest wall is in here. But we had a group of 4 young men, so like early 20s. They called that portrait either ugly or creepy, and one was scratched shortly thereafter. Now, we don't have too many reports of scratching or anything like that, but if you walked into my living room and called me ugly, I'd probably do something similar. So we don't know if she's connected. Unfortunately, there's no information in the back of her portrait. But I think everybody knows, but this is the one working bathroom.
Yes.
It's a very important part of my tour. You guys want, you can look around in here, otherwise we'll go up to the infirmary. So the infirmary is going to have 2 steps up and a large step down to go to the room. Oh, it's just cold in here too. There's no heat in this room.
Oh, it feels good in here.
Like
I
my
could
neck,
sleep
the
like
hairs
a
on my
baby.
neck just went up.
I got the Red Bull sooner than I thought.
I like the random squirrel picture.
Yes, there's about 20
Really?
squirrels in different forms hidden around the building.
Oh, that's cool.
So now I'm gonna try and find all of them.
A 7-year-old assisted with the hiding, so they're in some great spots. Just FYI. But this room, this is the infirmary. If you're sick, broken arm or broken leg, this is where you'll be brought. Probably just a bed and a chair in here. This room could also be a reward room in the winters when the radiator worked for trustees. And in the summers, this is a punishment room. It gets very hot and there's little to no airflow in here. We've been terribly uncomfortable even today. It's terribly uncomfortable. Now the medical equipment pieces you see in here were not in here when you're open. They've been donated to us and they're accurate time period wise. So we want them to be seen. It's a dental chair and drill in the back left-hand corner. This is eye equipment. This is the black piece. Behind you guys in the door, there's a medicine cabinet and some more fun pieces over there. And we also have the sink, toilet, and shower in here, 1930s era. You can tell, nice short shower because this is where the pipes would fit. That's why we have this weird dead space here, is because directly below us in Julie is where the toilet is. And there was one in the little closet in the office as well. So it's just
Plumbing.
where it goes.
Uh-huh. So now, as a punishment, obviously the shower would be turned off or it wasn't here at that moment because,
Not sure.
yeah, it's just, just asking.
We haven't had too much necessarily recorded evidence in here, at least not people have told me. But many people get uncomfortable, and healthcare workers tend to get a little bit more in here. And then some people in the SLS have gotten a figure doing some dirty things sitting in the chair.
Oh, in that chair?
Yes, I
We'll
would like
want
you
to try
adults.
that later.
That's what I do when I'm in a
Of
down
what that
chair.
would be. Yes.
Playing a lap dance.
I knew there were fetishes, but
Prison in Colorado.
Nice. I mean, they get
I was
lonely.
like, hey, what are you doing? We were just joking. This guy's birthday. We're like, why don't you come give him a lap dance?
Oh no. That's great.
Like, wow, I don't know what you're feeling right now, but we don't want to leave.
Oh no. Behind that door there's also a smaller food pass-through. So
Yeah,
Troy wouldn't fit
yeah.
through there. We keep fake fruit and random stuff in there. I was doing a tour standing about where you were, I guess. And a piece of fruit came out and hit me on the leg.
Oh.
So I'm a klutz. I thought I knocked it over, but the tour group with their eyes confirmed that I did not. So I was standing a little too far, but something falls. My first instinct is, how did I knock it over?
Fair.
I mean, I run into the bars here, and they're pretty simple. We'll go on up. Dr. Cleaver is the real name.
I was wondering that.
There was a Cleaver Street in town, so it's a Cleaver family. My last name is Slaughter, so I have no room to talk.
Hey, Mom, how the best last name ever.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
At least you didn't have nicknames for you in school. I was always Hubble Bubble or Bubble.
Yeah, there's not much you can do with Slaughter.
I don't know. I think it's the best last name.
Oh no, I love it.
Yeah.
You just can't change it very much because it's already Slavic.
Yeah. To be fair, my married last name is Kasperic, so.
I'm never changing mine.
Yeah.
But behind me, this is the maintenance shaft, also the ventilation shaft. So the smells from those toilets, that's coming right through here. It's supposed to go up and out, kind of a heat rises idea. And there's this rope here originally that attached to a trap door. Today it's just a ceiling. But you could move that, adjust airflow. By 1932, they had the inmates dig a tunnel to jail in order to assist with that airflow. When you look down, any lights you can see is from those ventilation holes. And when you investigate tonight, you want to close this door because everybody below you, if they speak, you can hear them up here and vice versa. Same with that door as well.
And you don't want to fall into it.
Yeah, it's secure, but it's not going to feel great at all because it's solid. We have had that door open up, I think the first or second Ghost Hunts USA actually. I've had really good luck with you guys. That door opened about 6 inches. We were able to catch that on camera. I believe it was posted on your Facebook page as well. So, I think the reactions of the 2 guests from that night might be even better than the door.
That's the best part of the job.
Yeah, because you just see the girl, and she was with, I think, her husband, and they both just look at each other, and then they're just like, what? Because they've been waiting and talking up here for like a good bit, and then he calls for his mom, who was in the other room, which I think is great.
And they just happen to be videoing at that moment.
We have a security camera
I
that points
see.
directly at it, because they said that, I'm like,
very good.
let me just pull up some footage and see.
Oh, cool.
So it just lucked out that it was the right spot.
Yeah, no kidding.
But if you guys look here, if you go to the room on the left with the green walls, and I will follow over.
I know, there's a couple gifts, so it's gonna feel weird. Nice big back window so everybody can see you.
So the whole building is off balance. That's partially why it became so hard to rotate the rotary structure, but you really notice it on this level, specifically this room. So it does mess with your equilibrium a little bit. But originally this room would have been a large bedroom. Then we get plumbing. We finally have a bathroom up here. You no longer have to go down 4 flights of stairs to the outhouse. Pretty good day. You'll notice that the majority of our toilets are on platforms and risers. That's because there was no space left in between the floors when they were built in 1885. It wasn't necessary. There is a furnace in that room, so it is unlocked in case we start making really weird noises, but good odds it's just the furnace popping on. And if that door is not completely closed, it will pop open. All buildings.
I saw that. In here earlier, I'm like, okay, noted.
You have to hear the click
Right.
when you close it. But we will go in there.
You know what? I don't know why they don't have them up here with the lights anymore. I think they're
Is that what that is? A bunch of lights?
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
It used to be a thing.
So cool. Oh my gosh, the floor's so tilted.
Finish off, he's off balance.
A little different from today's cell phones. I'm assuming that's what it is.
Your week and then your weekend. Yeah.
Is that what that is? A phone?
I think so. This is
Oh yeah, talk.
Oh, I can so sorry, Tina.
So this is the living room. The family could hang out in here. The kids could have sleepovers. We know Bill Foster entertained his friends with card parties up here, so it's a pretty normal life on top of the jail, right?
other than the poop smell.
Yeah. Question, yes, is what parents are letting their kids go sleep over at the jail?
I mean, you know, they'll be
No,
safe up here.
That's where they're the safest. I grew
Yeah.
up with a prison as my backyard. We were totally safe. If they escape, they're not staying there. They're leaving.
They're going out the front door.
Yeah, they're not going out to the apartment. They're getting out.
You know, one of the daughters did yell at the inmates and make fun of them from what we understand. And she also snuck out of her room on occasions to go hang out with her friends, and I'm sure the inmates below were very jealous of that. I mentioned earlier, I think just to you guys, if the jailer and his wife wanted a break, you could call on your in-laws and they could come take care of the building for you. And I spoke to one of the people that did that, and she said they would give them, the inmates, popcorn and Kool-Aid at like 10 o'clock at night to try and just have everyone have a little late night snack so the building might be quieter and everyone could get some sleep. And I just love the idea of these guys getting popcorn and Kool-Aid as their late night snack.
Right.
Brings me joy. But that cabinet is original, built by one of our sheriffs, Sheriff Gronwig. He also built a cabinet in the kitchen. The detail work going across the top is how we know he built both. That would have been early 1900s. Family portrait on there is of a jailer and his wife that worked here. Happily for the kids, they were old enough to have their own thing going when their parents took the position here. And the music box up there has played on its own multiple times. I've heard it just once myself. But one of our board members was here, I think in November, and he stopped counting after it went off 6 times. So he brings things they like to get active for him. He's also a cop, so that might help. It's not electric or anything. It's 1800s, so you would need a key in order to make it work. So it's kind of like a player piano with the cylinder, words, is how it would work. So many people do believe this to be the most haunted floor. I take that with a grain of salt just because you're more at ease on this floor. At least I am, I know personally. And the rest of the building is made to make you feel watched. That's the sign of the structure. But that's not to say we haven't had quite a bit up here. We've had female voices, a deep male voice, children's laughter. We've had the music box play. We've also had what sounded like a knock on the roof. Over in the other room, I'll show you guys. The door has opened and closed. I had somebody doing like a semi-solo here. We had somebody in a truck outside for her safety, but she was alone in the building. She's doing a Facebook Live, and you see her close the door. And when she comes back after being up here for a little while, the door is open when she goes to the other side again. I'm trying to think of wild things. Had a flashlight fly off there. I wasn't up here, but I was down in the office. There was a private investigation, and I heard, excuse my language, but oh shit, being yelled throughout the building. And I was concerned somebody was hurt. And then when they came down, it was the flashlight flew off the bench. So far more exciting than somebody getting hurt. We've also had a good time with using the flashlights up here for the yes and no questions as well. So, like I said, take it with a grain of salt, but a lot of stuff does happen up here. So, we can go to the next room.
I want to get a shot of this here.
Prince Albert. I had a tin of that.
Prince Albert,
Yeah, the cigarette tobacco.
Yeah.
Ooh, pipe case.
They are fantastic. They are on point.
We moved them around, haven't we? See if people are paying attention. But this room, we have it set up as the main bedroom. Depending on the year or the size of the family, things could be set up differently up here. But we have it his and hers for our purposes. There's a cane, an umbrella, and clock. Those 3 pieces were presented to Sheriff Gronwig in recognition of what great work he was doing as a sheriff at 3 separate times. Then over on the sewing table, there is another family portrait of a jailer, his wife and their child. In here, usually get really high EMF readings, which is fun because there's a light and a light switch. That's the only electricity in this room. It's usually over the bed, kind of towards the dress. We don't think it has anything to do with the dress because it occurred when we just had a table in here as well. Usually spikes up red, or all the way to, I think, what, 6 is the highest one, right? I just look at the colors. Yeah. So it usually spikes up pretty high over there. Now it's not all the time, but it's fairly often. Doesn't really happen under the bed. They've gone across the window to check because there's a power line across the alley, like just in case. And again, doesn't really light up over there. Occasionally in the wardrobe we'll get this like mid-spike in comparison, but that's about it. You'll also get good stuff in the spirit box on this level as well. And there's also a funeral home right across the alley right there. So sometimes we get extras.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. And then there is the hole in the wall.
Oh.
So, you know the furnace room on the other side? Same size room back here. This was probably shut off when heat came into the building. The door would have been there. But even in the summers, you can feel a draft coming from there. This is the only entry, so if you drop anything in there, I cannot get it back. It's very dark. It's just dusty. If you want to see good pictures of it, we have them on our Facebook page. But I want it to be cooler. It's just a hole, really. We put the hole there ourselves once we realized there was space back there. We wanted to see it. That's everything I have, I guess, unless we want to go out there and I can open up a side room that we can also go into tonight.
Are you a man? Are you a woman? Thank you.